Welcome to Untethered Fridays. I'm glad that you're here, and I'm glad that I'm here for that for a moment. And today I kind of wanted to discuss the concept of surrender. I talk about this sometimes. I don't know when that just cut out. I want to talk about the concept of surrender. I talk about it sometimes, but I don't think I talk about it enough in depth because it is the most profound spiritual act that we can perform. And a lot of times people will equate surrender with defeat or failure, or even a decision to quit, or it's like an ending or something bad, right? But surrender is actually really awesome. Surrender generally comes to us when we have no other option. But to just be like, you know what? The shit that I've been doing is not working, and I clearly have no idea what I'm doing. So that's it. I give up, but it's giving up the idea, the illusion that we can control things, and accepting life as it is, meeting life where it is, where you are at the moment, and accepting it, being there, and knowing that you can handle it, knowing that where you are right now is exactly where you are. It's where you're supposed to be. I personally have trouble with that because my personal situation, I do tend to resist, and that does cause problems. Our mind, it has an inborn survival mechanism, and that mechanism tries to help us survive, right? And obviously that's what a survival mechanism would be. And what it does is tries to control things to make it so that you don't hang out near a lion that's going to eat you, that sort of thing. But we have all these strategies that we think are going to make us happy if we can just manipulate the outside world. And that's never true, because number one, we don't have control. If you think you have control, it's an illusion. Windy. I have some clothes hanging up out there, and they might be going to the ground, so we're gonna have to go check those in just a minute. I've been gaining a lot of weight. Oh, God. But yeah, our minds kind of resist or reject the things that we don't want. We'll ignore it, we'll push against it and rail against it, and it's because we find it painful, right? Whatever it is we have in our mind that this is painful, this is not the way it should be, and it should be somewhere else, something else, and that's why I'm going to make it that way. But it is just an illusion to think that you can control things outside of you. You can really only control what's going on inside of you. And even that's kind of can be a bit of a challenge, especially when you're not practicing that regularly. But surrender is about accepting that and being comfortable with it. It's, surrender a lot of times, like for me, I know one of the biggest moments of surrender in my life was during the pandemic, when I realized okay, I'm good right now financially, but as soon as this, the government aid stops, I'm going to be back right where I was. And I clearly have no idea how to get myself out of the situation. And I need help, but I can't do it, clearly. So I was just kind of all right, God, do your thing. And when I did that, the most amazing things happened, right? Things came into my life almost immediately that helped me with that particular situation. There's a clarity to it, and when you are able to truly surrender, it's a relief, it's a relaxation. It's knowing that what you're doing, like I said, what you're doing isn't working, and you can't make the situation be what you want it to be, and you're tired of trying. Like you give up in the sense of like, give up the idea that you can control and the idea that you should control, and just let someone else take the wheel, which is this, however you want to believe it, whether it's, the universe, divinity, higher power, God, Jesus, Allah, whoever. But just recognizing that there is something bigger than yourself and some sort of flow and order to the cosmos. Whether or not you believe in divinity or not, you can't deny that there is a flow and order to the cosmos. And why would we think that that doesn't affect our personal lives? It affects everything else, right? Everything. Everything. So why wouldn't that be in the subject of our psyche, our soul, our being? In this society, we consider giving up to be weak. We consider it failure. But really, when you're surrendering, you're letting go of the results of your actions. That you're not always going to be able to reach a goal that we set out to achieve. And that when you do finally surrender, things look different. It seems kind of silly. The idea that you could control it seems kind of silly. Like, why did I think I could control that? And why is the situation bad? There's nothing about the situation that's bad other than my thinking it's bad, right? A lot of times we do that to ourselves in life. A lot of times we, that's what we do. We decide that this isn't right. It shouldn't be this way. And I'm going to suffer because it's this way. But there's not really a lot. If there is something I can do about it, I've been doing it, and it's been resulting in the situation that I'm unhappy with. So why would I continue trying to do what I'm doing? Why would I try and think, if you got yourself into a situation that you really are unhappy with, and you're there for a while and you can't figure out how to get out of there, why would you rely on yourself to get yourself out of there? Right? At a certain point, you just have to say, okay, I can't do this. And, I'm just going to surrender my illusion of control to the flow and organization and river of the universe and energy. And, it carries us, right? Surrender, it seems so scary because it's the unknown, right? Like, okay, well, if I'm not trying to control it, I don't know what's going to happen, and maybe it's not going to be for my good, and maybe I'm not going to like it, and it's too scary. It's really scary to give up control, right? It really, really is, and it can be really hard. And a lot of times it does take us getting to our knees to do it. But I think like Michael Singer says, letting go, accepting that you can't change things, certain, outside of you. You can't control things. That you can practice those in little moments during the day when you're okay. Like, okay, the guy in front of me is driving really slowly and it's annoying, but there's nothing I can do about it. So why am I bothering myself? Like, I'm getting upset over absolutely nothing, because there's nothing that me getting upset is doing. Excuse me. And the way to sort of do that is to come back to the moment, like relax and release, as Michael Singer always says, relax and release. Where's the tension in my body? Relax and release it. Take the focus off what's bothering you and put it on something a little better. And mainly like being in the moment, right? Like, what is happening at this moment? Is it terrible? Am I okay? Actually, I am okay, and it's not terrible. And a lot of times too, one of the things that I find is, I have a lot of people in my life that are very successful, and that's awesome. And, you want to surround yourself with people like that so that you can lift yourself. At the same time, there's a lot of pressure. And, I think that that's detrimental in some ways, depending on your mindset, right? Like, I find pressure not a good thing for me. Some, to a degree, yes, certain kinds of pressure, but, the idea that like you're running out of time, that really freaks me out. And there, I mean, I don't know. It's a different state of mind. It's a different place in life. But like I said, like it's accepting this moment right now is fine. It's good. It's beautiful. I can see the trees. I can see, my clothes blowing in the wind. I can see, the couch or whatever. It's fine. It's good. It's all good. I'm alive. Wonderful. Nothing bad is happening. And if you can be in the moment like that and just kind of like, okay, I can feel the floor under my feet. My skin has my sunscreen on it, so it feels a little oily. But it's about experiencing something larger than you, giving yourself over to something larger than yourself, allowing yourself to let go of this illusion of control because you don't have control. And what comes out of that is gratitude and grace and relief. So that's what I'm working on, and I encourage you all to work on it as well. Because otherwise you're just torturing yourself, and that's not fun. So I'm grateful for the information I have about surrender and the teachings I have received about surrender and the things that I've read about surrender and my own feelings of surrender in the moments that I've had them, and working towards surrender. I mean, I'm like, okay, I say I surrender to God every night and morning. It's part of my prayer. And it's not always true, but I do my best, and I'm grateful for that ability. So I'm going to remind you guys that, no matter what's going on, you can choose to surrender, and you can always choose to have a grateful day.